Today is January 14th. It is a very gray and chilly Saturday afternoon, and we just had our daily salad, but I felt like having a little bit of an extra treat today, and I've been craving in my mind that I need to have pizza. But I don't want to eat pizza because it really sets off a whole other string of cravings and stomach upsetment, and I'm always unhappy with myself after I've gone off and had something that fills me up too much or makes me feel like my stomach has to work that hard to digest. So I decided to do a little bit of a freezer harvest and see what I had that could potentially taste like pizza, or at least satisfy my mind's craving for something like that. So I've gone rooting through the freezer and I found some Shishito peppers and another little treat that I'm going to highlight for you right now. So, what is this? It's a ketchup popper. What is a ketchup popper? It's basically a frozen cherry tomato that I harvested fresh in the summer of, I want to say July 2022. I cleaned it, let it dry, put it in the freezer, and it just creates this magic that I'm about to talk about in a minute. So, when you hear me say ketchup poppers, now you'll know what I'm talking about. Look at these beautiful peppers that I grew in the summer of 2022 and processed and froze immediately. Just taking them out today. It is January 14th. I'm going to let them sit on the counter and defrost, and then I'm going to blister them in a pan with a little bit of olive oil. And the reason I'm showing you this is because this is one of the things that will inspire you to purchase fresh seed and start to decide now what it is that you want to grow. Shishito and Nadapeno peppers, or any pepper like this, even bell peppers, they freeze wonderfully. You can leave them in the freezer for at least a year. We don't usually have them longer than that, but look at how the color stayed. This beautiful Shishito pepper has a very smoky flavor when it's this color. Here's your regular Shishito pepper, and then the Nadapeno is it's so flavorful. Now, when they defrost down and you put them in the pan, they are, the texture is a little bit different than they would be if they were fresh off of the vine. Nonetheless, they really don't lose their flavor. It's very quick and easy to cook them up. You have them all year, so it's really very worth it to buy a few packs of this type of seed and keep it in, so that when you grow these, you can grow a lot of plants and you will not be overwhelmed by this vegetable at all. So now this next thing I'm going to show you here is a double bagged freezer bags of tomatoes that we grew here and that I harvested in July. Now, when I harvested these cherry tomatoes, I washed them and let them dry very thoroughly. I did not place them on a cookie sheet so that they got that flash freeze. I just bagged them up once they were dry. I let them sit out on a towel, and I just bagged them up. So here, I'm able to just pull out immediately a mix of Chadwick cherry and Sweet 100 tomatoes. Now, if you see what happened here, they do tend to crack a little bit after they've been frozen, but they have not exploded in the bag. And you can see that I pulled them out very easily. They stay in here loose, so they're not clumped together in a big wad. Now, it's funny because I have been able to use these in salad once they're defrosted, but there's something that happens with this freezing process where the tomato becomes extraordinarily sweet after it's frozen, and it's quite delicious. It's very good in anything that you're going to, say, stir fry or saute up, and you add some of these guys in because they almost become a paste. So I've been calling them ketchup poppers because they're so sweet and pasty and creamy that they really turn a plain meal into something really incredible and full of tomato flavor. So I am going to add these to my pan while I blister up my beautiful Shishito and Nadapeno peppers that are defrosting, and I'll add these ketchup poppers in there. And then as a treat, which we don't normally have, I'm going to take this beautiful sauteed, blistered mix of peppers and tomatoes, and I'm going to spread them out on some beautiful country crusty bread and a thin slice of provolone cheese. And it's going to be, I don't even want to call it a pizza, but it'll be just a delicious, flavorful bread, and that will be a nice snack for us. So right now I've coated my pan with extra virgin olive oil, and I'm not going to let that get too hot, because when the tomatoes and peppers hit this oil, it's going to create quite a splatter. So I like to do this with a grease splatter guard as it's cooking, to try to contain some of the mess, but it still makes a little bit of a mess. So I would pick a day after I've just cleaned the stove to make something like blistered shishito and Nadapeno peppers. But look how beautiful they look. You can hear all that crackling happening. I like to put them into the pan slowly as I put the grease guard on top of it, because if you go ahead and try to dump these out without having them sitting on a paper towel for a few minutes, they do throw off water and their own moisture as they're defrosting. So I feed them into the pan slowly. So it helps to eliminate all that splatter. And you don't want this extra water that's on this plate. So I'm going to take these tomato poppers that are, or ketchup poppers that are defrosting still a little bit. Just going to sit them on a paper towel before I add them to the pan, just to try to get some of the frozen moisture that's on there off. And then once these peppers start to brown up a little bit, I'll go ahead and add my ketchup poppers. You can hear as it sizzles, the sizzling sound changes. So I like to cook by sound, and not just sight. But it is quite noisy. You can see how they're browning up nicely. So once they start to brown more evenly and thoroughly, I'll go ahead and sprinkle some sea salt on there. And then in a few minutes, I'll add my ketchup poppers. The thing I really love about these shishito and Nadapeno peppers, and I've done videos in the past about them while I was harvesting them fresh in the summer, because I have 4 plants of each variety, and I harvest them almost daily. They are loaded with so many vitamin C and niacin. These peppers are good for your blood vessels. Niacin is so good, it helps to keep your cholesterol in check, and the vitamin C is a great boost to your immune system. So I just love keeping them in and being able to have a nice freezer harvest in the middle of January, knowing I grew these with no pesticides, no chemicals at all. They were grown organically, and there they are sitting, waiting patiently for me, and they are able to retain their beautiful color. And as their color changes from light green to orange to red, the smokiness of their flavor as a pepper changes slightly. So when you mix it in with the incredible flavor of the Nadapeno, which is a heatless pepper, it just has that flavor of the jalapeno. This makes an incredible side dish. It's good on salad. It's good on flatbread. You can mix it in with other peppers. They are so versatile, and they are really one of the best things if you're a new grower and you want to try to get something that's easy and you can keep in your freezer. I would go for a shishito and a Nadapeno pepper. You really can't go wrong. So now I'm going to add my little ketchup poppers. They are still a little more frozen than I would like for them to be, but this is honestly very late in the day for me to be eating. I like to have all of my food eaten before noon, but that's just me. At a worst case scenario, I don't like eating past 2:30 because I live a lifestyle of intermittent fasting. So this, I'm hoping, is going to satisfy, like I said, that craving that I have going on. And I pulled all of this out of the freezer in this little freezer harvest at the last minute, so it's not as defrosted. I mean, you can take something out like this a little bit sooner and let it defrost, but The tomatoes are so small, they'll actually cook down very, very quickly, and this is going to taste very, very sweet. I do have a feeling that it's probably going to satisfy my little craving quite well. And if you can hear this sound of the cooking changed a little bit, that's always an indicator that your temperature has changed. So because the ketchup poppers or cherry tomatoes are still slightly frozen, they brought the heat of the pan down substantially. So now the tomato will sweat, it will get some juice out of the tomato, it will add a little bit of fluid to the pan, and you can hear the temperatures changing. So it's heating back up again, and then the tomato will start to caramelize a little bit. I just caught a glimpse of myself in my apron and my pajama top. So it's Saturday afternoon, so I'm enjoying the time. But you can see that everything is reducing down nicely. Now, when you make something like this, you don't really want to put something so wet on top of like a bread or a dough with this level of sauce. You want to go ahead and toast your bread a little bit. Make it almost like a garlic bread if you're doing it with like a country bread. You can do this with naan bread, flatbread, tortilla, or if you have pizza dough, you could certainly make a delicious pizza out of this. You could even put this on top of pasta. So I'm going to go ahead and get my bread started to toast, and then I will add this on top with a little provolone cheese, and we'll get it nice and bubbly, and we'll see how it turns out. It's always interesting when, as a content creator, when you go back and you're trying to do these tutorials and you realize as you invite people into your home, just the disaster that could potentially be in your frame. So, oh my goodness, I look back at my family room. I still have paint cans out from our painting project. I had sheets drying across the kitchen chairs at the kitchen table. But the thing that does really come up in my focal point is my vegetarian pantry. So hang on for a second, check this out. What things are on my countertop here? Beautifully ripened, perfectly ripened avocados. I have a pomegranate. There's always apples on my counter. There's always mangoes. I have grapefruit. I have tomatoes, some sumo oranges, a cantaloupe that is in desperate need of being cut. And what counter in this gardening world does not have 8 Bakers Creek heirloom seed catalog on it? But another catalog that just came is White Harvest Seed Company. So I'm going to be taking a look at this today. I did notice that they charge flat rates of shipping and handling based upon the tiers of pricing. You know, up to $10 is $3 of shipping. These guys are in Hartville, Missouri. And this little bowl of loveliness is everything that's going into our composter today. I have avocado shells, there's bananas, there's coffee grinds with some eggs that we had at breakfast time. There's always, this is a staple every day of things that go into our composter. So we have a lot less waste, and I'm really happy to see that I'm taking this and saving it from the trash. And instead it'll become a beautiful compost for our soil in the spring. I'm very excited. All right, so after I toasted up the bread, you can use olive oil or a little bit of butter on the bread just to give it, you know, a little bit of flavor as it, like, you know, as your dough base. And then this provolone that I'm piling on the top is something that I've had in the freezer. So I actually get fresh, good quality provolone cheese that I buy at Costco, and I immediately package it up and get it into the freezer for moments like this. So now I'm going to put this in the toaster oven, set on broil until this cheese starts to bubble up nicely, and then it'll be done. Well, this actually looks really delicious. I am looking forward to going to taste this now. So here we go, guys. Oh my gosh, this is so good. This is so good. You definitely want to try this. Farm John, you got a couple little vultures on your shoulders there. Oh. How's it taste so far?
Excellent.
See you in the next video.